We have the Marin Blue Edition over on mcolegames.com. I'll leave a link down below so you guys can grab your Field Center today. There's about 30 of these left, and poof, they're gone.
Oh my god, this format is so ridiculous. We need an emergency ban list now!
Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more honest content. We're going to be talking about what a majority of the community is starting to scream about right now is a need or a want for an emergency ban list. What kind of applications could we see here because of the Ishizu cards? You come through an event, you see a pretty massive turnover in decks. The last time we saw this, Spirals, Zodiac, big examples of these turnovers. 29 Spiral, 32 Zodiac in previous years here, but they didn't immediately get cleaned up. I think Spiral was the quickest to get cleaned up. Zoo, walked around at the end of its realm here. But my question to you is what do we need to do here to fix this format? Is Konami gonna fix this format? I don't know if you guys remember 6th Sense Dragon Ruler format, but 6th Sense actually stuck around for a little while. It stuck around for, October, November, December, and it got cleaned up January, if I recall correctly. Feels very similar to that same situation, but the old fossil doesn't know or understand that. So let's talk about Ishizu Tearlament here, and some of the, I guess, what do you do to the deck? Now, if you remember, the OCG side of things actually went after the Ishizu package, well, along with some tier hits, but when you look at the way that the thing that made the deck go crazy, bat crap bananas, was literally just the fact that you got some massive millers. But the thing that makes the deck so crazy is those interruptions that you get because of those mills. You have some quick play effects that give you the ability to shuffle cards back into the deck, which really can mess up the opponent, all right? Just quick play, banish, target specific cards, force them to, take away the effects that they need on the stack is really, really something. So nobody really cares about the fact that you can mill all the cards in the world. It's regenerating those resources back into the deck that becomes the issue. So once again, you look at the quick play cards like the OCG did, would be one of the best ways to go about it, because you can mill as recklessly as you want in 95% of the games, but you're going to get punished because of that recklessness, because you can't really regenerate those resources. You can regenerate some names back into the deck for fusion summons, but that's going to cause some issues. So that's my thoughts on the Ishizu pack. Well, I guess it's not really all my thoughts. One big thing with the Ishizu package, I think a lot of people are kind of discounting right now, is the package is new. Konami wants to give players the chance to play with these cards. And I think that's something a lot of people kind of miss with these new cards, is they have to have playtime. I understand that this format is crazy. They could release an emergency ban list tomorrow. For all we know, an emergency ban list. The slotted date is a few months from now. A few months can mean anything in Konami's opinion. This is where I guess the alternative comes in. If they don't want to touch these Ishizu cards that just came out, really they're down to like $100 for a core now, if that. In America, it's going to be more expensive across the pond for Europe because of their short prints. But once again, they could just go after the tier cards themselves, which is definitely interesting. Paralineo got hit in the OCG, the field spell that pretty much gets the entire deck going. All of your interaction points are pretty much based on that field spell. The field spell is pretty busted in terms of your interactions. Let's just be honest with that. Like the field spell being able to search and then do everything else on top of the attack bonus and all that stuff, it's busted, all right, for sure. But you got to start looking at the names, all right? One idea I actually proposed was the fact that we could actually just go after like all of the ones that actually do the fusion summons. What if we looked at all the tier mons? Well, once again, I guess this depends on how bad does Konami want to, impact hurt this deck. Because you could put all of the names to one each and be like, all right, cool. Well, you hope that your Reno Heart and your, you can get to these. That actually, if they limited, the 3 fusion summonables to 1, all the ones that can do that, that just massively hurts the deck. Then the Bysteel cards become insane. Like, I think that would be the craziest thing that they could do. Once again, though, it comes down to how bad does Konami want to dent, this deck. The other big thing here is, if we head on into the next set, which is Photon Hypernova, and you see Shatri Law on the horizon, unfortunately, Tier Elements in the OCG did merge with Shangri-La. They have a variant out there that lets you use the Shatri Law. You get to do all of this cool, crazy tier stuff with that. So even with the hits in the OCG, it's still crazy. Even with the hits to the Ishizu package that the OCG has, they're still playing some of the Ishizu cards. Like, the impact that the deck has had has just forced it to merge on into other things. And I think that's one of the scariest things about, the thought of an emergency ban list here is, will it be enough? All right, like, you can't really have Konami come out with a list unless the list is super devastating enough to clean up all of the issues that the deck really is causing within the format. I mean, if the player base had their opinion, they would emergency ban half of the format, even if it's not relevant stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen some of these hot ban list opinions from players. And I mean, I am thankful that some of these players don't work at Konami, man, because they would just make the most biased, piss poor decisions for the community that I've seen. So you got to ask yourself, if we are asking for a list or we want to see a list here, what sorts of applications, are the OCG hits going to be enough? Will they go to the lengths of destroying the deck off the face of the planet? Or will they, allow it? Because once again, Tier has not had reprints yet. Konami loves money, all right? I don't know if you guys know this or not, but corporations love their chicken tendies, all right? And the longer that they keep Tier Elements running around in the format as a big buff, deck, well, if we hit the Ishizu cards, well, the Ishizu cards are pretty fair to pull in the TCG. If we limit 1 or 2 of them, then the players won't be super salty. I mean, I do kind of agree with that logic. They make the cards much easier available, or much easier access and availability. That way you can just subtly ride them off into the sunset, not much of a problem with it. I think that's a good idea, in my opinion. All things considered, good marketing. I obviously, I know people bought Mavens for the Ishizu stuff, but the TCG side of the product, having it being more available, was kind of nice. But you once again got to ask yourself, as we ride off into the sunset here and ask for that emergency list, what needs to change? And I will leave the comment section open. I do want to hear some of the thoughts from people here as to what they think needs to happen with the overall impact of this format. What changes do you want to see? Like, what hits do they need to do? I mean, like I said, you go to the extreme, you hit everything to 1. Oh, congratulations. But the problem with Tier is, if you leave these open-ended things to the points that they need to be, then you will see this deck continue to adapt and merge with other decks, and that's kind of where you'll see some more little problems kind of come up that you'll have to deal with. And I think that's actually pretty important at the end of the day, as well as, like, if you really want this deck gone, you can't let it have its chance to merge with these other ideas. But once again, in true Yu-Gi-Oh fashion, you clean up one problem, another problem rolls out. Hi, Shatri-La or Shangri-La. You guys are ready for your zones to get blank so you can't play the game. At least you have things like Lava Golem, Book of Lunar Eclipse, Book of Eclipse to out these particulars heading on in to the future here. So that's one really big thing is, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think that we're not going to see that emergency ban list. I think asking for something like this at this stage is kind of going to fall on deaf ears because, you roll through the holiday season. The problem is this format's not very new, user-friendly, which is why we will get a list sooner than later to clean this up, because little Timmy wants to be able to go play, Yu-Gi-Oh! But if they get milled 20 turn, or milled 10 haha fusion summons, they're gonna look at the deck and they're gonna be like, what is this? This is so crazy unfair, and they can't play their elemental hero deck at local. So that's a very interesting problem at its core as well. User friendliness for the game. But that's a story, I guess, really for another day. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.